Hi, I'm doing this at a very far hour of the day. One of those readings where, because I'm doing it in a space that is um, very general and at a time of the day that's very late, I can only speak so softly. So hopefully, this tone is somewhat soothing. Hopefully, the sound is better as well. And please forgive me if any issues come up or if you have an issue with the sound in general. I just felt it very necessary to do this, even if on a personal level, so that I could ground myself in everything that has been processed energetically and therefore translated psychologically and even energetically relative to the way that we're feeling and personally like processing and actioning things. I'm feeling a change on so many levels for so many of us, and it's very different. And I've also been finding that the theme, and this is obviously something I'm trying to tap into regarding the greater collective and what you may be learning, but I'm getting the theme, the consistent theme of eliminating shame and victimhood. That feels like it's a very, very important beacon, like a common theme that appears throughout everybody's stories and experiences, their successes and their downfalls. I'm noticing that consistent pattern a lot. I think this specifically started around the Neptune Aries transit, sometime as well with the Saturn Aries one, and I'm sure this is going to culminate to something huge next year when Saturn stationaries into tropical Aries, I think around February. Speaking of next year, I'm seeing so many energy workers and readers already tapping into 2026's energy. And I'm a bit, as a random insert, shocked, curious, surprised, fascinated by how we're already bringing in the new year. Mostly because I feel like this year has barely even finished its work. Yes, it's been hectic and exhausting, but we are in a very particular unfolding that is very, very much best to be present for. I'm feeling that greatly now, especially in contrast with the feeling of wanting things to go as quickly as possible. I'm currently physically ill, and I'm experiencing symptoms that I'm not used to experiencing. I don't think I've ever experienced symptoms like this before. And normally I'd be able to work with my body pretty well because of what I'm experiencing and how familiar it is for me. I've always felt when getting ill that I can feel the path to get better and I know how to navigate in order to get there quickest, usually. But this time, I'm really at the mercy of whatever this disease is doing, and I cannot speed up the process, and it's leaving me in a huge pool of uncertainty because I'm so resistant to the experiences of the symptoms because of how new they are. And I think this generally extends to the living experience, right? We're all so uncomfortable right now, going through something, likely going through something that we wish that we wish wasn't so drawn out in its experience. And I think that we can all feel on some level that some newness is coming. Again, even if you're somebody who doesn't really tap into this kind of stuff, or I guess isn't really spiritual in general, even if this isn't your realm of focus, you are somewhat aware that something new is happening. And the anticipation for it is becoming so huge that The impatience is building up, the sense of dissatisfaction is building up, the discomfort, the can it just happen already, you know? I think that some part of this experience of victimhood, because of how long we've been going through it and because of how long we've needed to learn about how to let it go and how to fully understand that we're not victims in our stories. We are the main characters, actually, and everything is happening for our main character development. And as a quick detour to mention something that I watched in the show Rami that I think has to do with this idea that I'm saying. One of the characters whose name I've forgotten explained that his living experience is that of trying to please his master and be entertaining enough for the master to then return gifts and stuff back, like, well done, Jester. I also just got the quick image of Hunger Games, and I'm only mentioning these references so that they can be a comical way to understand your connection with the universe and just make it anything but victimhood. Anything. You can literally think anything about your story, just as long as you never, ever, ever believe that you're just set up to experience bad things, suffering, and really whatever frequency makes you feel powerless. That has to go. And I'm feeling an urgency with the way that needs to be processed because of how I've mentioned in previous readings. It's getting very intense, that gap of time processing or whatever between the minute you make your wish and the time it incarnates in real life and becomes manifest. That gap is getting smaller and smaller. And yes, before it was a matter of like, you don't have to worry because you're not going to manifest anything bad or whatever. It feels like we are crossing a line where, not that we'll manifest anything bad, but our wish really is under our command. Our wishes are under the universe's command. I don't know how to explain what this gap is. And I wish I could, in terms of actual science. Like, I wish I had stuck to, the information is there. And I'm losing my way in trying to figure out how to find the words for it. But anyway, the answers for anything will come in due time. This is true for everything in general. And I've completely lost the moment of what I was channeling. And this is happening to a point where I'm feeling like I want to delete this live. And this is all happening against a moment of presence where I'm like, you can delete this live, but you can also keep it. So what are you going to do? That moment of just, I'm experiencing something that I don't usually experience. I don't know what the answer could be. It's anything I choose. What am I going to do now? It feels like this is happening on a big scale to a lot of us at the same time. That's the feeling. Yeah. Even sitting now, I don't know if I'm going to keep this live up, but I also, that frequency, that's it. That what I just experienced now on this live, that's it. It's tripping me out that this is all up to me and keeping it or deleting it or, choosing to really be vulnerable. Wondering what I'm doing. Like, I'm having a very raw moment right now on the internet. I had come onto this with the intention of also mentioning the things that have popped out to me. There's a clear pattern playing out for my observations, and this is obviously open for comment, critique, feedback, whatever. I've been seeing a lot. I've been noticing the pattern of people who have a powerful stretch of influence over the greater collective. One of those people who has popped up very, very recently, and I'm sure everyone by now would have seen, is Kanye West. And his general rhetoric of his akinness, is that the word? His kinness to Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ as a figure has also been coming up a lot over this year, no? Jesus Christ, Christianity. The seeking for salvation. And essentially, I think, has to do with the general victimhood and shame frequency, which is there's plenty of it floating around. A lot of people feel a sense of it and they don't know what to do with it. I think that's what is a link to the uprising of religious switches, Christianity, and just the general following of Jesus Christ. We're all full of shame, full of guilt. It's all bubbled to the surface. We don't know what to do with it. People like Kanye West and others who have a huge stretch of influence over society don't really care about how much shame they hold. It's the cringe factor. It doesn't affect them. They basically don't cringe at all. That's key. They don't contract. They don't coil, because that's what cringing is, right? That's what shame is. That's what victimhood is. That's what I feel has been a huge lesson for this eclipse season. We keep being consistently prepared to really release this by the time the planets do their thing next year. I haven't looked into this myself in great detail, but I do genuinely feel like there's going to be a greater boom effect of the things available to distract us from turning within. It's going to keep being a crazy, wild, repetitive unfolding of things that pull you away from your center, distract you, take you out of present moment experiences. That in itself is a very dangerous thing. It always has been. But it feels like it's going to be especially dangerous now because of the influence, or because of the thin veil, because of the general increased ability for whatever is radically floating around in the air, energetically seeking to destroy. The general frequency of fear and destruction is going to be chaotic enough to pull people into its whirlwind, get people to forget their sense of self, their sense of morality, a sense of truth, and then just follow the impulses of whatever those free roaming energies of fear are, and project and go into modes of psychosis, to not know what to believe and not have a sense of grounding. We're all very, very susceptible to that kind of frequency right now, which is why it's very important to pray, practice spiritual hygiene. I have fallen off on that myself. It's been really, really exhausting for me, alongside experiencing this physical dilemma. I've also just generally been very tired, very distracted, foggy. In all honesty, regarding my past readings, I've watched them back, finding a clear frequency of my general vibe has been difficult even for me to figure out. So it's been very, very wild, very, very wild time. But I'm grateful to be nearing the end and finding I can feel that it's going to be a lot more. It feels like the line is doing this. It's going to be a lot more like calmer, slower, easier to process come after the eclipse, the solar eclipse. Something that I saw recently before coming on this live was a tweet talking about how the purpose of this solar eclipse, apparently new moon as well in tropical Virgo, is to locate the root of the intention why you do things, what your day-to-day activities are, and what future those things are feeding into. I get the sense that it's not just your day-to-day, it's part of the distraction conversation that I've just had and that I've been seeing reverberating throughout the spiritual community is not just your day-to-day, yes, your thoughts as well. Every thought you think, the way you breathe, the way you hold yourself. I'm sure we all understand the extent of it by now. We understand the things you watch, the songs you hear, etc., the things you repeat in your head. The things you repeat in your head are things that the understanding that we are living a projected reality of parts of our conscious and subconscious minds. That is going to become, like I'd said, more important over time, but it feels like the theme of that is being highlighted right now, which is part of the reset energy, the newness energy, because I'm sure on some level we're all feeling the power our minds have over our reality. We will get a chance to face that directly in each of our lives to understand how we can better manifest our actual reality. But I also get the sense that with the people, with the collective that tune into my work, it's much deeper than that by now. Like we get that. We already get it. It's understanding more and more about how it is that we've manifested what we see right now. And I'm saying that more and more we are getting intel on has a lot to do with the nooks of where we stored our shame and our guilt and our inability to show up in situations vulnerably, why we insist on being perfect, why we want everything to be perfect immediately. I get the sense I read for people who are so adamant, like we're intense about perfection, we're intense about power, we're intense about like being accountable, being present. We're intense about the work that we've put in so far, which is great. I think that the ingredients of that, and also has to do with the whole topic that I brought up earlier about influential people who have a stretch over society, people who are powerful. It feels like when you have that quality in you, an intensity about things and about wanting to do things right, about perfection and all of that, that I believe is an ingredient for greatness, power, influence, etc. And I think that even having that quality alone, I think it has a lot to do with the uprise of, I think they say micro celebrities. But anyway, that's branching into like far into the future. And I'm trying to deal with right now, more specifically what this breakthrough is, why it feels so close and so far at the same time. We still have remnants of victimhood and shame left in our auric fields. It's frustrating for me because I can feel that it's there, but I can't quite place where it's coming from or what it is. And I feel so uncomfortable already. And I'm feeling so frustrated that I have to push my limits of comfort even more so that I can see and understand what this shame frequency is, where it comes from, what's left of it. Because I know on a logical mind, I'm so much further than what I am actuating in real life. I know I am free, but I don't seem to fully understand that I'm free. And I'm getting impatient now about the fact that I still feel this way. I feel really tired. I feel really, really tired. But I trust. I still have absolute faith. And I do know now more than ever, more than I ever have in my journey, that that God is real. The work that we've been doing is so, so real. Our connection to our spiritual bodies and worlds, so important, so real, so useful. And we just have to keep going. I get it. I get it. I think that we do have to do some kind of alchemy work with regards to the way that we experience connection with other people and with social media. It feels like that's where we are walking towards now in terms of the intimacy and the divine unions that are happening. It feels like, though, that we could do more work in preparing for it. It feels like not enough of us truly believe in the divine union aspect of what is coming manifest. And that is delaying. It's like it's energetically delaying what's coming in somehow. Although I must reiterate with that these divine unions are happening so aggressively that there's nothing that can stop it. Everybody who's meant to meet each other is going to meet each other, and it's going to happen a lot sooner than many of us realize, and with a lot more impact than I think many of us are actually prepared for. And we could do a lot for the work that we're doing, not just for preparation, but also to open ourselves up more on the act of being intimate, even with just ourselves, and on understanding the possibility of connection. I think that we could practice more gratitude in the way that we go about every connection in our lives, even the ones that don't really last or the karmic ones that are a bit toxic. I think we could do some release work on past relationships that we need to fully let go of. I think by now we understand exactly who needs to go and who needs to stay. Really release the ones that need to stay. Really tend to and nurture the ones, release the ones that need to go. And nurture and tend to the ones that you have realized need to stay. Allow for more moments of, wow, I really love this person. Wow, I'm so grateful to have love in my life. I'm grateful to be cared for. I'm grateful to have loved in that way. I'm grateful that I had that much trust. I'm grateful I'm able to trust that much. Something about this season may feel like a revisiting of feelings of betrayal. Maybe of not a person, but of your actual life. Feels like with all the heaviness that you've needed to process, you may feel a certain level of distrust with your life, in that you don't fully believe that things could be really blissful, peaceful, and happy for you. You feel safer not believing that, and that's part of the intimacy work. You need to get more intimate with that belief. Be more intimate with hope. Cross the line of delusion, even though at this point we know about that word. A lot of heart center work, a lot more crying, emotional expansion. When our dreams come in, we really need to be able to feel every stretch of the rooms that they fill, of the space they fill in our hearts. We can't fumble the expressions of joy that we are capable of. We can be a lot happier than we have been, and it's coming. It's coming. This has been a really, really difficult energetic time for me. It feels like exam season for what 2025 has been so far. And the exams have been tough. The curriculum is thick. There's just so much that I feel I've fallen back on. So much spiritual work and understandings that I feel like I've forgotten that suddenly are so hard to implement and hold consistently. But I can feel as well the muscle memory of the work that I've done. And I just need to lean on it. That's all. And I know it. And I know that whenever I'm ready and when I don't feel so tired and like everything's just so sluggish and when I can just get over this hump of apathy and almost immaturity, then things are going to start feeling exactly like I'm doing the work. And it'll feel rewarding as well. Every moment of ritual and spiritual expression and honor to your soul and to God right now, to the other realms, every expression of reverence towards those parts of your life will yield results. You will, at the very least, feel lighter, happier, more joyful, more able to experience it, even if by a fraction. I swear by it. I promise you this. Find a spiritual practice, get into it, make it a routine. You will feel so cleansed. It'll be so much lighter than the way you'd feel if you didn't have a practice. Now is the worst. Shout out to people who aren't like believing in God right now. I'm going to shuffle to see what ideas come up and to hopefully leave with messages of some useful progression aspect. I'm not even in a state of really needing upliftment because I feel like it's so true. Along with this exhaustion and discomfort, I do feel unequivocally that things are going to improve drastically beyond our wildest dreams. We just need to believe in it and keep doing the work. And we are already doing so much work, and congratulations and thank you and shout out and well done, and let's keep going, you know? Let's see what other energy can be added to that. I think this is also the latest I've ever done a reading. I don't know what comes over me in moments like this when I feel called to do something like this at such a crazy hour. It feels very unlike me and very telling of, happy eclipse. Of course. Wonderful. Yeah. Gosh, it's kind of annoying to see them laid out like this. We have the Nine of Cups, obviously. The World, obviously. The Knight of Rods and the King of Cups, together being things that I feel we're tapped in. We're very tapped into right now, of deep emotional expansion, as I'd mentioned earlier, and a kind of spiritual vulnerability against the chaos of the world, seeking the beauty in nature, presence in the moment in order to ground ourselves in the chaos that we are experiencing. And then we have the Five of Swords, which I think has to do with that chaos And then beneath the deck, we have the Eight of Swords, which is annoying because both these cards together immediately tell me that whatever problems we're experiencing or turmoil we're processing has largely to do with our own shit, our own, it's the shame, the guilt and the shame. That's essentially what these are about. Although I think with this, because with a lot of us, our shame is learned, hereditary in the sense from the colonialist structures, But I think at this point, we're so far into the modernity of the living experience, so much so that we can more or less call someone out for being a slave owner. It's still there. They still try to be covert about it, but most of us have access to large levels of empowerment. Yeah, we have access to huge wells of empowerment right now that if at this point we're not accessing is very much an us problem. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I know it. I know for myself that's exactly what it is, that any moment of disempowerment I feel is really my own inner demons that need to be faced. Like I need to stand up. You know what I mean? Stop being so curled up like this. Stand up and face this guy. I hate needing to stand up and face that guy. We also have the Page of Rods, the Six of Swords, which I think may be speaking of any personal health issues you may be experiencing. I know it's also flu season for some, which has been interesting. And I'm talking across the globe, not just with us. I think it's starting to become very real, the change of seasons and how it affects us physiologically. I think from here on out, we're all going to start experiencing very sensitive reactions to the energetic shifts, full moons, solstices, etc., etc. I don't want to pull out too much regarding this story though, because I think that it all, there's also the Three of Discs here, which speaks of the process that I believe we're going through regarding this shame frequency. I think that these cards also speak of the same thing. This card speaks of travel. I think that what this overall energy is speaking of is our exit. As per the title, we're exiting finally this tunnel, this underworld exploration. We've been in the caves, with all of these cards coming out together too. These two are such a beautiful, both figures free, reaching, stretching, expansive. I think that with enough crying and possibly journaling, not possibly, highly likely journaling. Every time I see this card, this is a river, just for my personal experience only. Every time I see this card, it reminds me of journaling or someone sitting beneath a tree, contemplating, writing random thoughts, doodling, creating scrapbooks of the way that you feel in general. That's what I'm receiving may be really helpful here. This card also speaks of being happy even when you may not feel it inside, of like pretending, acting as if happy. Yes. And this card speaks of that idealistic frequency of like finding the beauty in the chaos, even if it's not there. Make it up, romanticize your life. That may be something that could work for you. I'm randomly getting the experience of like writing yourself a love letter and leaving it by your bedside table to wake up to the next day, setting alarms of little affirmations that can uplift you, recording video diaries for yourself so that you can watch them back as if you're a friend talking to yourself. That's what some of these lives are to me, actually. And something about, I don't know, maybe you could do like, what is that thing called? Exposure therapy? I don't know. One of those things where you do a social experiment. So go out with a friend and experience, dare each other to do stuff. Dare each other to do social stuff. Send a DM that you normally wouldn't. Reaching out to someone, complimenting someone. I'm trying to think of ways to address this frequency here. These two, which are very much, being your own enemy, essentially. And insisting on the one where they keep a herd of sheep inside a demarcated area. They fence it off. And then eventually, without really making a show about it, they take away the fence of the place and the sheep still keep confined into that area even though the fence is gone. Something like that is, needing to get the sheep to realize that the fence is gone without, ruining without being loud about it, without frightening them, without scaring them so much that they go further within, this figure here. Something like that is what's happening with us, and is what it's what I'm feeling the divine may be having an issue with regarding us right now. Because remember, the divine can't intervene. God will never interfere on our free wills. Our angels will never do that. So when we're stuck in these kinds of positions where where we're just, where where we are keeping our own selves locked in, God can only do so much to, help us. Although what I'm remembering now is the permission aspect. A lot of the time with most of the spirits and figures that are there to help us, they're just really waiting for permission for us to say, I welcome you. And that's why that part of the Jesus salvation prayer is a thing. So I think that if that's something you're open to, because it is a very, anything spiritual right now feels like it has a weight to it. But I very randomly suggest you should try that. Pray to Jesus and literally welcome him into your heart and see how that feels after. I think a lot of people generally underestimate the power of that, of declaring that Jesus is welcome in your life. I appreciate the presence of the world in general. I really appreciate major arcana cards falling out, especially during a time like this, because this feels like a major arcana moment. And of all the ones that could fall out, this is the perfect one. Because this is actually the work that we're doing. This is the work I'm feeling is like really vibrating consistently on levels unseen. And why we can mostly have faith and just release the shame at the very least. That's another thing that ties very closely with Jesus. The idea of praying to Jesus, the idea of the fact that he died for our sins. Something about that is a freeing of shame in a sense, because if Jesus died for it, then I can be shameless about it because Jesus already died for it. Oh, yes. I'm remembering this randomly, a message that I saw on a bathroom stall at the university I went to that said, paraphrasing along the lines of, you have to sin or else Jesus died for nothing. Sorry to anyone if that offends you. I don't want to be offensive. It just thought it was funny. Anyway, that's actually all I'm receiving. I can't tap into anything more outside of cry when you need to, be emotional, journal, trust that everything's going to turn out okay. You've done the work that you needed to do in the underworld. You've done your time. Thank you for doing your time. You don't have to take this darkness with you. Take care of your health. I think this would have to do with your spiritual health as well. I think those two will link during the season. If you can take care of your spirit, your physical will follow easily, a lot easier than it would if you didn't follow your rituals. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there. Thank you if you've been watching specifically my readings during the season. I really don't think that I've been my best in terms of tapping into energies, giving messages. I feel like I haven't been present in my own general life. I'm still juggling how to apply my will, especially with regards to the way that I want to show up, with regards to the work that I do. So I'm really grateful if you have managed, if you're still present, especially during this specific window. I think it's going to be a little bit weird for me while my Saturn return has returned. I'm still really learning a lot about myself as a person, let alone how I interact with my actual material life. So what you're seeing a lot of the time with my lives and the way that I show up on social media, and even if you see me in person, if you happen to see me in person, chances are I'm experiencing something really, really raw, new, not really sure how to handle it. I really feel like a newborn baby in a lot of ways. So yeah, thank you. I really appreciate you in general. Not just for tuning into my work, but just for being alive right now. I say it a lot. It is very noble, trusting, hopeful, pure, full, magical, powerful, miraculous, magnificent to be alive right now and to try and to keep trying amongst this uncertainty and this chaos. To still hope and dream and wake up and do is amazing. Thank you for that. And I will see you in